The ordinance separates out the personal growing of medical cannabis within their own residence versus the more commercial aspect of a collective, a cooperative. The 50 square feet is related to growing for your personal use inside a residence.
Okay, that's it.
And
you can't sell it to the...
No, you can't sell it, you can't
Okay.
give it away. It's only for you in your residence. And there's no permit required for that. You need to show that you, I mean, if we need to come in and look because someone's complained about it, or if the police happen to be there, you need to be able to provide proof that you are a qualified patient.
Okay. That answers my question.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Sydney. We'll open this up for public comment. If you're here tonight to comment on this item, there is a 3-minute time limit. And please state your name and area of residence. And Greg, looks like you're first.
Looks like I am. Thank you, Virginia, council, staff. Working on this, and we've had a process that's been rather public for quite a while. I think we have something here that seems to be equitable. It seems to be pretty well balanced. And this ordinance really does a lot of things, and it does them pretty well. It certainly limits and starts getting the growing out of residential areas. It ensures safe access for patients. Hopefully this raises some tax money for the city. And it allows businesses to start and people to start working again here. And so I think you guys have really done a lot. I've been so impressed with the amount of talent that I've seen on this and the amount of care and time everybody's put in. Thank you so much. I say just adopt it, let's bring it home, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg. Actually, Nick Sheeva is first in line, but then you'll be right up next. Please come forward and state your name and area of residence.
My name is Adrienne Floreen, and I live in McKinleyville. I would like to talk about the problems you have in Eureka currently and why your medical cannabis ordinance is going to make these problems worse. I'd also like to talk about the problems with this ordinance. Since I don't have very much time, I'll talk very quickly. You have prostitutes walking around your town in public view for all to see. The police are doing nothing about it. You have meth houses cooking methamphetamines, users of methamphetamines roaming the streets, robbing people. The police don't seem to be able to do anything about that either. And you have medical marijuana users who are currently legally growing, who are currently legally smoking, whose houses are being robbed. And the police aren't protecting them. And with all this, you want to make more laws that the police have to enforce? How about first taking care of the problems like visible prostitutes walking around for all to see before making more laws that are going to take the police's time away from serious problems? Now I'd like to talk about problems with your ordinance. The lighting shall not exceed 1,200 watts. That would make most current grows illegal. And 50 square feet and 1,200 watts, that does not provide medical marijuana patients safe access because it doesn't give them enough wattage or enough room to be able to grow their medical marijuana. The second thing I'd like to talk about is something that she said, which is that the police would, if it was more than 50 square feet, the police would go in. I'd like to say how. Would they get a search warrant or would they just walk right in the door? How are the police going to go in? And are they going to then raid this house and arrest this who was previously a legal medical marijuana grower? Or are they going to send them some kind of letter or levy some kind of fine? I mean, in what way are the police going to go in? That's an important comment I'd like to make. The other thing I'd like to say is that there are a high amount of robberies that go unreported in Eureka, where medical marijuana patients are robbed, their houses are broken into, and they don't report it to the police because they're afraid of the police currently. A good friend of mine who does not want to be named, his house was broken into. His medical marijuana, which he smokes and grows legally, was stolen. He was not only afraid to call the police and report it, but he was afraid to come here tonight to speak out because he said the police would be watching him, they would identify him, and then they would go into his house and raid his house and arrest him. So what you're doing is, since I only have 15 seconds left, you're creating more fear, You're making it unsafe for medical marijuana patients, and you're taking the police away from much more important things like robberies, prostitution, and methamphetamines.
Thank you, Adrian. And Nick?
Nicholas Bravo, Eureka. A couple of points that she touched on I would like to expand on. Number one, I think that making sure that the police cooperate with medical marijuana growers so that they can work together in a less antagonistic relationship. Because let's face it, the cops have better things to do than harass people who are growing legally. 50 feet is more than enough square feet to grow if you're doing it right and if you're doing it professionally. There's no reason for any smells or any seedy activity to be anywhere near somebody who is growing for medicinal purposes. I would also like to say that one of the things that you might consider is that when people grow legally, that helps to destroy the black market. That helps to destroy the seedy, rebellious culture that is so typically associated with marijuana. Because I don't know about you, but I find drunk drivers and meth addicts a greater threat than I do some medical marijuana patient, buzzed out on their couch watching Oprah while sucking down a soda. That's just the way it is. I would also like to encourage all professional medical marijuana growers to take responsibility for their own safety, take responsibility for knowing the laws, working with the police, working with the city, so that they can keep themselves safe and keep themselves from being robbed. I understand Councilmember Leonard's concern in regards to marijuana, because I know it's sometimes considered a gateway into harder drugs and a negative culture. But something you might consider is that back when tobacco was being grown in the 1700s, there was a certain culture to that. But once corporations got a hold of it, they started making tobacco. Now you can buy a package of cigarettes and nobody thinks twice about it, because it doesn't have that seedy undercurrent, whereas marijuana does now. And if you get rid of the black market by helping marijuana growers and the city work together to destroy the black market, you'll actually profit in ways that you right now cannot really imagine. So I encourage you to do all you can to help the medical marijuana growers do all they can to stay with.
Thank you, Nick.